Modern science often presents itself as a finished architecture. Let's call this closed monolithic system OS.Dogma. In this operating system, the prevailing belief is that physics and our current measurements represent the absolute definitive truth of the universe. What we can calculate is all there is. When researchers encounter anomalies, things that don't quite fit the neat equations, OS.Dogma treats them as mere errors, just statistical noise that better instruments will eventually smooth out. But when a system claims a total monopoly on reality, it stops being a process of discovery. It becomes an unyielding authority. In the 1970s, a philosopher named Paul Feyerabend looked at this authority and decided to break it. He became the enfant terrible of epistemology, driven by a desire to rebel against scientific dogmatism. This flowchart illustrates his critique. Structurally, modern science operates exactly like the Catholic Church. Looking at this cyclical loop down to scientific consensus, both institutions utilize widget hierarchies. Peer review and research grants function like bishops, filtering outside interference to protect the reigning worldview. To dismantle this hierarchy, Feyerabend proposed a hacker's mantra: anything goes. He argued genuine progress requires us to deliberately break existing rules. As outlined here under the exploit and the result, scientists must develop counterintuitive, absurd theories to stress test existing rules until they fail. To truly break OS.Dogma today, we need a theory so radical that it completely bypasses the classical rules of science. In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom popularized a concept that does exactly that. This timeline connects Feyerabend's 1970s rebellion to Bostrom's modern simulation hypothesis. The hypothesis proposes our reality is a computable architecture.
Feyerabend would have used this concept as an intellectual crowbar to pry open scientific arrogance. This schematic compares the classical and simulation views. If reality is simulated, our sacred laws of physics are merely source code. As noted here, our smartest minds aren't studying ultimate reality. They're only documenting the parameters of our local sandbox. The simulation hypothesis acts as the perfect exploit because it permanently strips materialist science of its absolute authority over what is real. This table outlines the Empiricism Paradox, comparing the dogmatic approach to Feyerabend's anarchy. The trap is clear. You cannot use a simulated ruler to find the edge of a simulation. The theory forces us to think beyond physical instruments. Pushing science to this empirical limit produces an ironic byproduct. This Venn diagram shows how atheist tech billionaires accidentally reinvented theology. Where these worlds overlap, the programmer becomes God. Unexplainable anomalies are no longer errors. They act like divine miracles. The simulation hypothesis illustrates Feyerabend's claim that modern science and ancient myth are structurally inseparable. Feyerabend introduced another concept called incommensurability. As this diagram shows, when a new worldview like Einstein's spacetime replaces Newton's absolute space, the two models are so radically different they cannot be directly compared or bridged. Applying this to the simulation hypothesis creates a multiverse architecture. These connected spheres represent uncountable nested virtual worlds running simultaneously. Here, the physics from one simulated universe are entirely incompatible with another. There is no universal truth left to discover, only local server rules. Accepting a reality governed purely by local rules rather than universal laws is the ultimate realization of epistemological anarchism. Feyerabend wouldn't have cared if we live inside a computer. He simply would have weaponized the hypothesis to shatter our complacency. As outlined in these 3 points, the value of the thought experiment lies in showing our understanding of reality remains a construction. Progress requires us to look past our current measurements, embrace the absurd, and challenge the code that defines our reality.